History has a way of repeating itself, and in the grand theatre of geopolitics, old rivalries do resurface every once in a while. This time, it's not about colonial spoils or naval supremacy. This time, it's about Ukraine and the battle over how to make peace. On one side, you have French President Emmanuel Macron. He is ever the Gaullist, championing a Europe that stands on its own in this battle. On the other side is the UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. He is sticking to the old script and betting on transatlantic ties. So it looks like it's France versus the United Kingdom once again. They have worked together until now, but leaders, both the leaders in fact, met with US President Donald Trump. Both agree that Ukraine should be defended. Both call for a truce, yet their visions are very different. Take the peace deal, for example. Emmanuel Macron said France and the UK were proposing a one-month truce in the air, on the seas, and in energy. That's what he said. The UK immediately distanced itself from this. Some officials even dismissed the idea, saying no such agreement was reached. Like I said, competing visions. France wants a deal immediately. The UK wants to hold the line, and the reason is quite simple. Macron is not just thinking about Ukraine, he wants to reshape Europe's security architecture, and it's something that he has openly stated.
Given the threat and whatever happens in Ukraine, we need to increase our defense capabilities, and we need to build, in the next few years, autonomous defense capabilities for Europeans.
Macron's vision stems from a deep-rooted belief that Europe must be able to defend itself. He's even suggested nuclear deterrence, that France can use its nukes to protect Europe, because nothing screams European unity like France volunteering to press the button for everyone else.
I have decided to open the strategic debate on the protection by our deterrence of our allies on the European continent. Whatever happens, the decision has always been and will remain in the hands of the President of the Republic, who is the head of the armed forces.
Of course, the idea sounds grand in a speech, but is it mere posturing? Yes, France's military capabilities are formidable, but they are no match for NATO. Also, will the whole of Europe agree to this? Can Emmanuel Macron get other allies on board? This is one side of the story. Now let's look at Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister. He is the pragmatist in this equation. His approach is rooted in London's long-standing loyalty to Washington. Since the Second World War, the UK has been America's closest ally in Europe. This role has defined its defense and foreign policy. So the UK's first instinct is to keep America in the loop. It's almost like a transatlantic reflex.
We have to make sure the US, Ukraine and Europe are all on the same page to put Ukraine on the strongest possible position. But beyond that, what matters is lasting peace. We've done that by working with the US. No two countries work as closely as we do on defence and security and intelligence.
For Starmer, this is not just about strategy, it is also a necessity. In 2016, Britain exited the European Union. Since then, it has struggled to define its role on the global stage. Being the most reliable European partner to the US is one way to maintain that relevance. It's not like Starmer is dismissive of European autonomy, but his actions suggest something else, that he's placing his bets on the Atlantic Alliance.
The US has been a reliable ally to the UK for many, many decades and continues to be. There are no two countries as closely aligned as our two countries, and our defence, our security and intelligence is intertwined in a way no two other countries are. So it's an important and reliable ally for us. The discussions we've had today, particularly the coalition of the willing, is on the basis that this is a plan that we will work with the US, and that it will have US backing.
So what happens next? Will these competing visions lead to a clash, or can Macron and Starmer make it work? The most likely scenario is that of an uneasy cooperation. The UK and France will continue to work together on Ukraine, but they will have distinct priorities, and this divide goes beyond just these two leaders. It reflects a larger strategic choice that Europe has to make. Should the continent rely on itself for security, or should it remain tied to Washington's shield? And neither position, remember, is without risks. European autonomy requires consensus and capability, both of which remain elusive. Meanwhile, transatlantic dependence leaves Europe exposed, especially to America's many mood swings. Macron and Starmer represent two sides of this argument. The question is, which one will prevail?
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs. And that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.